Welcome to another edition of MIW. Got the D-Man here, and I'm glad you guys could join me. Today I'm doing an edition on wealth. My good friend, Sparty Fortune at Team Fortune. Check him out on YouTube. He's got some really great dating advice. He is right on the money about things. He's funny as hell. That's why I liked him. I looked him up, I don't know, a year or so ago when I was how would I say, investigating some things about relationships because I was going out with a younger girl and I needed someone who was in the field and knew how it was to deal with younger women and Instagram and all that. So I found Sparty and he really helped me out a lot. So he's right on the mark. Anyway, he had a viewer and he wanted me to speak on wealth, acquiring wealth. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And here we go. I found this, I looked this up about where the word originally comes from and the true meaning or the root meaning of the word. The ancient origins of the word wealth originally suggested it had much broader meaning than financial wealth. And it has narrowed over time. It has narrowed down to meaning money, land, things. That's what we think about when we say the word wealth now. But originally, for hundreds of years, that wasn't the meaning of the word. As you know, words change over time. But we're somewhat, I don't want to say genetically, but we're somewhat programmed from what that word has meant from years of evolution. I don't really know how to explain that, but just because it doesn't seem to mean the same thing now in the last, let's say, 100 years, we still have an impression of what it meant hundreds of years ago, which has been passed down through the generations. If you can understand that, I could probably explain it better, but that's the best I can do right now. Okay. Wealth comes from the Old English weal, W-E-A-L, which means wealth, welfare, and well-being. Weal is in turn related to the older word well, W-E-L, meaning in a state of good fortune, welfare, or happiness. Now, if you look at that, a state of good fortune, welfare, or happiness, there's no mention of money there at all. Okay? Well gives birth to wealth around 1250 AD. That's when the word wealth that we know today actually came about, was in 1250 AD. And wealthy, a century or so later, at 1430, it seems to have settled around the idea of riches and prosperity, leaving behind the older meanings of wider well-being and health. So originally the word meant well-being and health. We've got almost 600 years of language to contend with, but wouldn't it be useful if we could reclaim the full meaning of the word? But in today's society, the media, advertisements, they push and program people into believing that wealth, that money, that things, for example, you have to drive this car. If you drive this car, you'll be so happy. If you drink this beer, they show all these guys in a good-looking built six-pack guys, 6 foot, six-pack, and six-figure income in the bars drinking this new beer, and then they got the beautiful women with them. If you just drink this beer, you'll be happy and successful, and you'll have beautiful women around you, and you'll look like these guys. Of course, we logically know that's not true, but they play this music and the emotions, and they get you feeling that. This is how they sell their products. It's kind of subliminal in a way, the way they advertise things. They're not logically trying to get you to buy the product. They don't tell you what's in the beer, that it's got these vitamins or it's this or it's that. They're trying to emotionally get you attached to this for you to believe that if you drink this beer, you're going to be like these people. I know you think, I'm not that stupid. It has nothing to do with being stupid. They connect with you on a subliminal level with those messages. Another example, this car. If you just buy this car, you'll be cool, you'll be happy, like the guy driving through the mountains. He's got the windows down, the music playing, he's got the beautiful girl beside him. You know, this guy has got it made. Okay, do they say anything about the horsepower of the car, how fast it'll go from 0 to 60, any of the technical attributes of the car? No, they don't say anything about that. They are selling you on that car emotionally. So we are programmed through hundreds and thousands of commercials and billboards and all kinds of advertisements to believe that if we have these things, then we too will be wealthy. And of course, when you think about these things, most people think about the money to buy them. So if I have money, I'll be wealthy. But as you can see, the original meaning of the word was well-being and health. I mean, I have friends that are multimillionaires, of course, and they're happy, but it's not their money that makes them happy. Now, do they have money because they're wealthy, or are they wealthy because they have money? First, they had the consciousness of wealth. These people, or anybody who's truly wealthy or truly a multimillionaire, let's say that, could lose all that money and gain it back. I've lost everything I've had except for my freedom, and I almost lost that twice, I think 3 times, and I've gained it back. Okay? Because I took risks and they didn't work out. Anybody who's truly successful, you will find out that they've risked everything or a lot of things many times, and they went broke. I don't know how many people who are successful today have gone bankrupt 3 or 4 times. Look at the statistics. Now, I've never gone bankrupt, but I guarantee you, I sure thought about it a few times. Actually, if I could have got out of my taxes, I would have done it because I owed a lot of federal back taxes at one time. But unbeknownst to me, because I got put on the no pay list, after 10 years, it just disappeared. But not Missouri tax, not the state tax. I had to pay them. And I finally got them all paid off here a while back. So, but I can laugh about that. But it was by making bad choices. Well, I say if they were bad. I took risks, okay? If you want to be wealthy, you got to be willing to take risks. I'm probably not going to speak to you about investing in property or starting a YouTube business. I'm not going to talk to you about the technical aspects of how to do it. But what I'm going to talk to you about, it has to begin in your consciousness. You have to be wealthy inside. Because let's say today I gave you $1 million. Okay, if I gave you $1 million, you better become a millionaire because you won't have it in 6 months. Look at the statistics on people who have won lotteries. In a couple years or 2-3 years, they are more broke, actually in debt, than they were before they got the money. Now, why is that? Because they were not true millionaires. They did not have the consciousness of a millionaire. That's what I'm talking about. You could take all the money away from everybody in the world, okay, and distribute it evenly among all the people, and in 5 years, it'll be back in the hands of the people who had it originally. Wealth is not so much what you have on the outside. It's your consciousness and your mentality on the inside. And when you have that, then the wealth comes to you. Okay, what's the difference between a person who grows up in a rich family and a person who grows up in a poor family? It's easier for the rich kid not because he's had everything handed to him, because he grew up in an environment where people talked about making money and increasing their money, as opposed to the poor person who grew up in an environment where they spoke about lack, talked about lack. How am I going to pay the rent? Oh, there's a bill collector calling. They lie to the bill collector. Most people who are poor have a poor mentality. Okay, they think about money, but they think about, I don't know, how am I going to pay these bills? I don't have enough money. I can't afford that. Never say you can't afford something. Never say, I don't have enough money. Even if you don't, say, I don't have it in the budget now. What you say to yourself is very important. Be conscious of the words you use. You know, are you saying I can't afford that, or that's too expensive for me? How about you just say, I don't think I want that right now. I don't think that's in the budget right now. I don't have enough available cash right now to buy that, okay? I don't have enough available cash right now. I don't think I have any dollars in my pocket at all, but I have money in the bank, okay? But at this moment, I don't have enough available cash. That's a lot different than telling yourself you can't afford something. But back to the poor household, they grow up with that. They grow up with their parents complaining about money, fighting about money. So they grow up thinking, and here's another point to think about. What people do when they visualize what they want, they think about what they want, because everything begins in your mind. Okay, any success a person has or failure has begun in the mind with thoughts, with their dominant thoughts. I lost my train of thought, as a matter of fact. Geez, what was I going to say? I am lost. But you have to watch what you're thinking, because what you're thinking eventually materializes itself in the outer world. So how you think about, I remember now. Okay, if you're thinking about what you want, too many times people think about the money they have to get what they want. And that is one of the biggest mistakes you can make, because you're putting the money as the goal. But the money is only a means to the end, or to getting what you want. So what you do is, let's say you want a Ferrari, okay? The first thing you think probably is, I can never afford a car like that. It's $240,000 for an F1. Is that what it is? I think I love that car. 220, 225. You say, oh, I can't afford that. You got to forget about that. You got to forget about the money, and you got to see yourself in that car, feel yourself in that car, think about what it's like driving that car. Okay, and if you keep that in your vision and your thought, and anytime you think about, I'll never be able to have that, you got to wipe that out and think about having the car, or whatever it happens to be, a house, land. And in a way you won't understand, opportunities will come about, and people will come about to you that will help you in a way that you could never have imagined to achieve what you want. Now that is if you're persistent enough to hold on to the vision and get away from the negative thinking, believing you can't have it. What is the difference between you and, let's say, Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos? Is that his name? There's no difference. You know what the difference is? The way they think. The way they think. What's the difference between making a $5,000 deal and a $100,000 deal, or $1 million deal? There's no difference. Only that you think it's different. That's where a lot of times when people grow up in a rich environment, they don't think $1 million deal is a big deal. But if you grew up in a poor middle class or lower middle class, you think that's a big deal. And more times than not, you don't try to do it. Or maybe you feel guilty about making money when you didn't have to do anything except put a couple people together and set something up. I've experienced that myself. I remember a long time ago when I started in business, and I'd make like really, let's say at that time it was a lot of money. I remember one time, a good example is I made like $800 in a day. And it's like, I felt guilty about it. But the customer was happy, I was happy, but I was thinking hourly. You got to stop thinking of your time and your value as per hour, and think of it as what the value you have to offer is worth someone else. I had to go out to California, right? I had some photos I was going to have taken. I had to get a haircut, okay? This guy that cuts my hair is really great. I mean, the only thing I don't like is I got to wait 3 hours to get in there to get it cut, because he's always got people waiting. I actually don't think he charges. He charges like $20, $25 for a haircut, but the guy's great, okay? So I go in there Thursday, and they got this this pandemic thing, okay? I got to be careful what I say here on YouTube. So they got this pandemic thing, right? He's closed, only taken by appointment only. So this is Thursday. I'm going to leave Friday or Saturday morning. This is Wednesday. I'm going to leave Friday. Yeah, so I tell him, I said, I waited till everybody left, was making appointments, and I said, I tell you what I'll do. If you get me in here tomorrow and give me a haircut, I'll give you $100 for I'll pay you the $20 for the haircut, or $25, and I'll give you $100 if you can get me in tomorrow. He said, come in tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Now, did I pay him for the haircut? Yes, the $25. But the value he offered me was worth the $100. I didn't have to go anywhere else. I didn't have to worry if it was going to be a good haircut. I didn't have to wonder if it was going to look like crap. I didn't have to worry about anything. So the value he provided me was not just the haircut. Is what he gives as a person, the value. And that's what you need to think about. What value are you giving to your employee, or if you're self-employed, to your clients? Because that's the deal. It's not the time, it's not the product. How valuable is that? And when you increase your value, it's like Jim Rohn says, if you work harder on yourself than you do on your job, you'll never want for money. So that's another thing back to, you need to be working on yourself. Always be increasing the value inside or inherent in yourself. Because what you put out there comes back to you. The more value you provide, the more value you get back. Why do you think Bill Gates is wealthy? Because he provided value to so many people. I don't think he started his computer thing thinking, oh, I'm going to get rich. No, he thought about putting a computer in everybody's household where everybody could have one, just like I have one here. So as far as wealth goes, it's back to the mindset. That is the most important thing. Because like I said, if you won the lottery today, let's say you got $10 million. I'll guarantee you, you won't have it in 5 years unless you have the consciousness of a person that has that type of money, that is used to, that is comfortable with that type of money. That's the big thing. You have to be comfortable with it, or you will find a way to get rid of it and be right back where you are now. And only you can raise your consciousness. You do that by watching YouTube videos. Surround yourself with successful people. Your income is the average of your 5 closest friends. I don't think I have 5 close friends, but I have 2 or 3 that are multimillionaires. I have another guy who's the vice president of the chain of banks. He's not a multimillionaire, but he's around a lot of people with money, so that's good. You become part of what you are around. As I said, wealth is a mindset, and before you can have whatever it happens to be, financial wealth, material wealth, you have to change your mindset, and only you can do that. Are you sitting around all day watching Netflix or playing Xbox or looking at porn? I guarantee you're never going to be wealthy. You only have so much time in this world. Your time is the most valuable thing you have. Use it wisely, because when you're on your deathbed, you can't buy another breath. Whether you got millions of dollars, billions of dollars, or whether you got $1. You're not going to buy anymore. So use your time wisely. You only go around once this time. Anyway, well, I hope this has been of help to you. Smash that like button. Share it with a friend if it has been of value to you. And if you want to get my help personally, you can contact me at marksinspirationalguidance@gmail.com. And thanks for joining me. Be cool, man.